the investment to make sure, because somebody's going to get paid for us investing our money with them. You know, whether it's a mining platform, they charge a little bit for electricity and maintenance, or you know, some of the bots and
I'd have to link this up.
So you want to make sure that if somebody's making an investment, you know, just as a passive investor, that we use whatever vehicle is going to give them the greatest return. So yes is part of the answer, but I would need to know how much they wanted to invest. And
Right.
are they going to add to it, or is it like a one-time thing?
And I don't have those answers right yet. You know what I mean? This was just I was told that he was involved in doing some cryptocurrency stuff by some guys at work who have built a mining operation in their basement, and they were talking about how he and another guy were deeply involved, and it turns out they aren't deeply involved. I don't have a lot of. We'll just leave it at that. They're not involved with this guy, but he had some investment money sitting, and he wanted to get involved with something, and he asked me what I know, and I said, dude, I know nothing at all. But I do have this group of friends, and explained kind of the situation a little bit, to which he said, well, how do I get involved with these group of people? And I said, well, let me make sure it's kosher, and I'll make a phone call, and we'll get it set.
Yeah, you can, anybody who wants to, you know, who wants to learn and stuff, they're welcome to, you know, to join the Telegram chat. And if they want to do any of the things we're doing, that's cool. And if they don't, that's cool. And, you know, pretty much everybody's allowed in, and unless you're an asshole, like, you're going to stay in, you know. But we've not had anybody be not cool and have to get removed from the group or anything. But yeah, bring whoever you want, and we'll try to help them or steer them in the right direction if we don't know. Hey Randall, it's about 5 after. Are you recording yet?
I am.
Oh, cool. Okay. So what should we talk about this evening? First thing, maybe like the just what's happened with the price of Bitcoin lately, and maybe some of the press and historical trends that you've seen. And if you would share with us a little bit about like the fair market value, what that means, why you look at it. I think that would be a good place to start.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Started to wonder. So the fair market value of Bitcoin is determined by the difficulty level of mining a Bitcoin. And so built into the blockchain is the supply and demand that is supposed to determine oh, Luke's coming back. That's supposed to control for supply and demand, and thus control the value. And so if we zoom out to a year, we see that, and I'll even go further back. We can see there's a lot here, but basically you can see a green line right here, right above the red line. The difficulty level and the fair market value has remained fairly consistent throughout, all the way back to mid 2014 when this site first started tracking it. And so right about early 2017, we have mainstream adoption kicking in, media attention, and then the mainstream gets a hold of it and it explodes. So part of this explosion resulted in an increase in mining difficulty. So basically what that means is more miners are coming online to make Bitcoin by solving the blockchain algorithm. And when that happens, every time the blockchain algorithm is solved and 25 Bitcoins is released, the next subsequent Bitcoin get more difficult to create. And so what this green line really represents, while it does represent an increase in value, it also mirrors exactly the difficulty level of mining a Bitcoin, and thus the supply and demand. So we see a decline to about $7,900. The difficulty level jumped up a lot in this last month. So the fair market value is 10,000. So now's a really good time to buy. You know, it's gonna restabilize like it has since the beginning of its insurrection, right at about the fair market value. And I've been tracking this over the years, and it's always been pretty accurate. Whenever it goes above the fair market value, I sell, and whenever it's below, I buy.
Okay. Now might be actually a good time to talk about, since it was brought up when we first started, like some of the cloud mining companies that are out there. Since you've got your screen up, if you want to maybe talk a little bit about Hashflare, and then I'll pull up one of the newer companies that I'm using on mine and talk about that one after, and just kind of share your experience with it maybe, and the profitability of it, and why that is one of the investments that you made.
So Hashflare is not that profitable right now, because the value of Bitcoin is down. I should show you something really funny. I posted this in a martial arts page that was selling like a 2-week martial arts course. Okay, but we won't go too far off topic. Here, I gotta put in my credentials for Hashflare.
Okay.
If you want to do sun mining while I'm getting mine set up,
I've gotta get it pulled up over here too.
we're horribly unprepared.
A little too much time cooking.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a KitchenAid. It chops all my vegetables in like 10 minutes. Make a good wife someday.
Okay.
That was a
I'll
joke.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen over here. Sun Mining is one of the newer companies, and I've just started with them fairly recently. I also have some invested with Hashflare, and really I just kind of wanted to compare the profitability a little bit of the two, and just to kind of see how they function a little bit differently. I did not put very much at all into Sun Mining, and I'm actually not mining Bitcoin. What I'm mining is I'm mining Ether and Litecoin. So I started with like just a little bit. I think it was maybe a $600 investment split between those two contracts. And what I've done for the most part is everything that I've earned, I've reinvested. So when you invest in a cloud mining platform, what you're buying is hash power. And I cannot explain that like Randall can. So I'm going to let him explain that. Like, what is hash power?
So hashes are basically the guesses per second that are processed in the blockchain algorithm for the cryptocurrency that you're trying to mine. So a terahash is a trillion hashes, or a trillion guesses a second. So the blockchain is built on a cryptography, and in order to solve the cryptography, the current method is just to guess, because no one has the constants for the cryptography that's being used. except for the CIA. The CIA has the constants for the SHA-256 algorithm that Bitcoin is based on, which should give you an idea of who the fictitious entity is that created Bitcoin.
That's a theory. I mean, you might be right. I don't know, but thank you, because I couldn't explain that to somebody what the hash rate is. So what I did is, like I said, I didn't invest a ton of money, and I've been reinvesting my earnings. But if you look at this chart right here, shows the profitability. Mine, it hasn't really gone up a whole lot because the price of Ether from the time I started has increased a little bit. And I think the difficulty has increased a little bit. And then if you look at the Litecoin, I haven't reinvested anything today, and that's why it's kind of dropped down. But the price started going back up in the last couple days. So when the price goes back up, the profitability went down a little bit. But so far, I'm finding that this one is pretty easy to navigate. And one of the things that I like about it, let me see if I can get another window open here. On their homepage, they have these calculators, so you can basically see what the profitability is for 30 days on some of the different things they have going. But they do have a warning right there on the homepage to be aware of imposter websites. There's a lot of freaking scams in crypto. So there is another website that looks just like theirs that's a total scam, and they will just steal your money. So I wouldn't Google it and just click and send anybody $1,000 because it might be the wrong one. And they do have a referral program. I don't know how much it is. If somebody signs up using your link, I think it's 5% bonus one-time deal or whatever. So, but you can basically put in based on how much you want to invest, and it'll calculate what the cost is and then what the profit is for 30 days on some of these different things. So you can mine Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, and Litecoin. It seems like, I don't know which is the most profitable right now. And I'm mining Bitcoin with Hashflare that Randall's going to share with us. So with this one, I wanted to try something else and just play with it for a little bit and make sure they didn't steal my money. But so far, it's, everything's working really well. I've been doing it for about 6 weeks now, and I've more than doubled the amount of hash power that I have. So it's starting to mine, a little bit faster. And another thing that I liked about this particular company is that their contracts for Ether and Litecoin are 2 years. Bitcoin is a 1-year contract, same as Hashflare. And I think Randall helped me calculate the cost per terahash. And Sun Mining was a little bit less than Hashflare because they use a lot of solar power. There's a shit ton of electricity that's consumed with mining cryptocurrencies. So that's that one. And if we look, not that one, balance. So in the last 2 days, I've made basically $24 from mining those 2 coins. And you have the option of withdrawing it, or I'm just going to keep reinvesting it, because for me, this is a longer play than like an ICO where I'm trying to make a return quickly. This is more of a long game strategy for me. Randall, Hashflare, please.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Let me make sure I got it up.
Hey, actually, before Randall goes, Devin, can you explain, or Randall, you can explain one more time? I understand what the sun is. Like, I get that it's a mining platform, and I get your explanation of what hash rate is, but what kind of power is that giving you? Like, does it give you more money back because of the higher that it goes? So the more money you invest / reinvest into it, then your personal hash rate goes up as like, so like as Devin in that mining, your hash rate personally goes up. So therefore you make more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Basically, these cloud mining companies, they have facilities somewhere set up with a bunch of the miners, these little computers, and those miners are running all the time. And people from all over the world invest money to get a portion of the coins that are being pumped out of those machines. And the company gets to keep the mining equipment. So they're making a lot of money doing what they're doing. But Randall was trying to mine, or did mine, some stuff like at home in his basement before he started doing the cloud mining. And he can share a little bit more about how that works. But that, to me, that looks complicated and expensive with the electricity.
Yeah, it's really expensive. So like there's commercial rates in Oregon that give you 2.2 cents a kilowatt hour, which is really good. For if you go industrial, you can get a lot better rates on electricity, but real estate rates are like 12 to 16 cents on average. So they're 6 to 8 times what you would pay for a commercial rate. So it's not as effective because these things use a lot of power. One miner that produces about $4,500 annually burns the same amount of electricity as a hairdryer running 24 hours a day. So if you want your annual income to be $45,000 a year, you would have to run 10 hairdryers a day, all day. You could imagine what your electric bill would be if you did that. So yeah, you need an electrician to come in. You need a special panel and all that stuff. You got to change your power at the pole so anyway, they're trying to crack down on it, the residential usage of it. So now there's electric companies that if you use more than a certain amount, they will charge you an exponentially higher rate because you're consuming it for because it's a real estate location. Okay, but did that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Hashflare. I've been in it for a long time. I've been reinvesting for a long time. And when Bitcoin was up, to like at 15,000, this is usually around 600,000. But since Bitcoin's down, it's at about 250,000. So I mined Bitcoin in this cloud mining operation, and Ethereum, and a few other coins, Zcash. So basically, and I can do all the math to show the profitability of mining Bitcoin on here, but I could just tell you that the annual profit per terahash is pretty low right now. It's in like the $500 to $1,000 range, which isn't really that much considering that you could put money in other things and make a better return on your investment. Sun mining is a better deal. So if it was me coming into the game right now, I would use that platform, not this one.
Yeah, I don't remember what the difference was. I think it was somewhere when we calculated it. I think Hashflare was like 220 a terahash, and the Sun mining was like 170 or 160, something like that. So
Yeah.
it was a pretty significant difference in the cost.
Yeah. I'll do the
And
math real quick.
it's a longer contract. So
Okay, 884. Is that right? That's really low. That's right. $282 annually per terahash. The cost of 1 terahash is $220. So right now the profit annually per $220 investment is only $40. So
that's not so great.
it's like 20% annually. It's a lot better than a lot of other things, but right now this is really crappy because Bitcoin's down.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing that we put on our list that we would talk about tonight, since we have a couple ICOs coming up, is just looking at some of the different exchanges and kind of what they look like. How do you send Bitcoin or Ethereum to an exchange? How to place a buy and a sell order. So do you want me to go first or?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I have Binance and Cryptopia pulled up, and I think, do we know Crypterium is going to launch on HitBTC? So maybe if you'll pull that one up on yours. Cryptopia is the one that we used when Electroneum launched. So if you get involved with an ICO and you learn whatever exchange it's going to launch on, one thing that you'll want to do is make sure that you have an account on that exchange set up as quickly as possible. From time to time, the exchanges will suspend people from being able to set up accounts just because so many people are getting involved in the crypto space that they can't handle, a shit ton of new users all the time. So maybe we can post in the Telegram chat later, like a list of some of the top exchanges that would be a good idea to have accounts on. Cryptopia is one. And I think they use the New Zealand dollar. Are they out of New Zealand, Randall? Is that, hello? Do you know? Yeah? Okay. So from, we were just on the homepage, and I don't use a ton of these buttons. For the most part, I use the exchange button, and then this over here, these are your different wallets. So if I wanted, for example, if I wanted to buy a coin that was on this exchange, like Electroneum or, one of the other altcoins, the first thing I would need to do is send either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin to the exchange. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, those are kind of like, gold, silver that we use to buy other cryptos with. So if you click on balances, you can see, I don't know if I even have anything in here. Oh, I do. Okay. Not much. I've got a little bit of this altcoin called Extra Bytes, which has dropped like crazy. So I'm just going to hold it for a little bit. If I wanted to send Bitcoin here to buy something else, I would click on deposit, and then it will let you select like what are you going to deposit, and it can be Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever else you want, and then you go through a similar step when you want to withdraw it. You'll pick what you want to withdraw. Like if I wanted to, I could withdraw the Extra Bytes that I'm holding. and it would ask me, how much do I want to withdraw? Where am I sending it to? And all of those other things. Now, if I wanted to buy or sell one of those coins, what we would need to do is place a buy or sell order. And Randall can probably explain that a little more coherently than I can. But let's say, for example, I wanted to buy or sell Electroneum. You place your buy order over here, your sell order over here, and there's a couple ways to do it. You can set an order for the market price, which is the price that it is right now. And you can also set a sell order for a specific price. I know I did that before on a coin that I was holding, and I thought, if it hits, I bought it for a penny, and I said, if it hits 13 cents, I'll sell this much of it and, basically pay myself back plus some. So what I did is I made a sell order, and it executed in the middle of the night. I didn't sit there and watch it or anything, but I basically calculated how much Bitcoin would be 13 cents a share. And I put that in the sell order box. I went to bed, and the next day I had an email that let me know that the sell had gone through. But if you are wanting, like if you've got some FOMO going on and the price is going up and you want to buy something right now or sell something right now, the easiest thing to do is just to do it at the market price and sell it right away. Do you want to take over, Randall? Did I explain it okay? I can't hear you.
On this exchange, Cryptopia, you can actually click on the orders that are in the system and buy them straight out of the system by just clicking on them.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Down here.
Yeah. So if you click on it, it will auto-populate above, and you can buy that specific order, what's left of it, which makes it, that's how you place a market price order instead of like a limit. A limit is where you actually enter an order. So all the orders you see there are limit orders that people have placed. So in order to make a market order, you just click it and you buy that entry or sell it on the other side.
Okay. Do you want to show us HitBTC maybe, since that's where Crypterium is going to launch soonish?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to?
Oh, stop sharing? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So this is HitBTC, and I don't have anything. I only use this for tanking coins. Yeah, that's funny. So right now I have Naga. I have some Naga in here. I have like $2 worth of Naga, so not even very much. And it doesn't look like it's even in my trading wallet. But anyway, so this one's a little bit different. It's the same kind of thing. You have your orders, your buying orders and your selling orders. You can look at the market depth tells you how many sell orders there are on the market versus how many buy orders and the volume that they comprise. So what that basically tells you the overall sentiment in the market on that coin. So right now is not a good time to buy just because it, unless like a big whale comes in and is like, oh, I don't care, I want that for my portfolio, it's going to continue to go down until these are a little bit more balanced. And you can see here, there's only, what is that, 12 buy orders, and there's just a long list of sell orders. So So yeah, so this is probably not the best coin to buy right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you have a market order. If you do a market order, you're buying at the current price, which is the best asking price right now, which right now it's 0.00011 Bitcoin. So if I wanted to buy 1,000, I would just put in 1,000 and then click buy, and it would buy it at that price. And then same goes for sell. Now, if it's a limit, then you tell the system how much and what price to set, so that if the market hits that point that you've set, it will execute your transaction. And in order for the market to pass through your point, the order has to be filled. So it's kind of a safer, you're not like chasing the market. So for example, I'll give you an example of what chasing the market is. So if I wanted to buy more, Naga coins that more than 19.3 Bitcoin worth, then I couldn't do it because there's not that much, or these are buy orders. So if I wanted to sell more than 20 Bitcoin worth of Naga, I couldn't because there's not enough buyers on the market to fill that at these price levels. So basically I would have to put an order in that would close all those out, but then the rest would just be sitting there waiting for someone to interact with it. Does that make sense? Kinda. So like,
Have any questions? Like,
Yeah. Okay. So I want to just make sure that I understand this. So I get, the time, like to sell, not to sell, all of that. But are you guys using the screens that you just shared with us as if we were investing in an ICO and then we put a cap when it reaches it that it'll automatically sell out? Or are you guys almost like just a trade with the coin, and when it reaches a certain value in the crypto market, you sell out, and then that's what you get?
both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is, what I'll do is I'll go to one of the sites that I use to vet ICOs. And it's called ICO Drops. It's a fairly decent one. So I'll share my screen with you. So on ICO Drops, you have active ICOs, and an ICO is an initial coin offering. So basically, it's a blockchain venture capital startup, and they have an idea, and they want investor money to get the idea going. So let's say that, and this is the strategy that makes a lot of money, is you find a good one that's rated fairly decently, and you can tell because there's lots of different ways to measure whether an ICO is a good ICO or not. Some of these are rated, so they give you a rating. This one has medium interest, a high ROI, return on investment, a normal risk level, and a high hype. And so if I wanted to invest in this ICO, I would go to their website. First, I would look at their white paper, because that basically explains everything from A to Z that they're going to do with your investor money. And if they're worth a shit, it'll be really impressive. It'll be really well laid out. If it's like bad English and misspelled words, and they don't disclose who the team is, then I wouldn't put any money in it. So that took me to the website from ICO Drops. And if I determine that this is something I want to invest in, I just click buy now. And then it tells me what the investment levels are. So 7,000 US dollars, 50,000 US dollars. And then that gives me points, which I assume will convert to their tokens later. they have to be very careful how they word everything, because in the world of money, the government is very strict. You know, they want to keep their slaves in line, so we have to be careful how they word things.
Randall, while you're there, will you pull up Rentberry on ICO drops? That was one that it had everything that I would look for in an investment. It was perfect. However, they are banning the US, and Rentberry is that third one down on the left. Yeah. It has everything that I would that I would look for. It's getting really close to their hard cap. I read the white paper. What they're doing with it makes total sense. But it's one that I went to go start buying the tokens, and the know your customer is really strict. Like, they want a copy of your passport or driver's license to show where you live. And that's not going to work because they banned the United States. There's some where, certain countries are not allowed for whatever legal reasons. And that was one I was really disappointed about, that there was no way to invest in it. So what my options are is, if I can watch it and see when it goes on the market, what happens to the price of the token when a lot of investors will, they'll get in the pre-sale, it'll go on the market, and the price might be really low for a couple days and then surge, and I could try to get in then, or wait for a bunch of people to dump and then try to get in then and hold it for a little while and see what happens to it. But yeah, that was one that I really wanted to invest in. And unfortunately, unless I get a Brazilian passport, that's not going to be an option for me. So, because I know I had shared that with a couple people, and then I had to go back and say, never mind, we're not allowed.
We're working on different ways to get around that, but none of them are legal. So
Yeah, and that's kind of an issue.
we have a guy from Brazil who's trustworthy, in quotation marks.
And I have a friend, actually, a good friend that does have a Brazilian passport that lives here in Branson. But still, like, it's sketchy, and I just don't really feel comfortable, breaking the rules quite that much.
Yeah.
So, sometimes there are things that come along. Indian was one of those too. That was one that it looked great, but they wanted so much paperwork before we could even buy the token that most of us just didn't do it, because it looked like way too much hassle, and having to have a verified document from an attorney or an accountant and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't get into that one because of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't want to do all that.
This guy only wants 5%.
The Brazilian guy?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're using a VPN through Brazil.
Okay. I mean, you do you, man. Whatever makes you comfortable.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Keep the rest of us posted on how that works.
I might be doing these from jail in a couple months. I'm just kidding.
We'll send you some brownies or whatever while you're in there. A care package.
Okay.
We got friends. We got friends in prison.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'll get whatever tattoo I need to get in with the right group.
So we're kind of winding down towards the end of our hour. Are there any questions? Or Randall, was there anything that we said we would talk about that I forgot?
Not that I can think of.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I've been seeing different places where people are coming out saying that They predicted that Bitcoin was going to drop down to 6,000, and then once it hit 6,000, it was going to go up to 50,000 this year. How do we feel about that? Do you actually think it's going to hit 50,000, or do you think it's going to? I know it's going to go up, but do you really think it's going to hit that? What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Or heck, sorry.
I think it will, because the difficulty level of Bitcoin is going to rise significantly this year because of the manufacturing of hardware. So right now, I can show you guys. I'll pull something up here. There it is. Okay. It won't take long. Okay. So interesting. I'm about to share my screen. So this is Bitmain's website. Bitmain manufactures.
What happened?
What?
Oh, sorry, my bad. It took me off of the screen for a second, so my bad.
Okay. So let me go and log into my account. This is where you buy. This is a manufacturer of mining equipment, like the best mining equipment in the world, and they're back ordered to like, and it's for an insane amount of time.
Yeah, I think we've looked at this a couple times. I think you and I were trying to figure out when they were gonna, like, they had a round that was for sale in January or whatever, and they were sold out.
So this is to give you an idea. So we saw on, you guys recalled, I showed you the fair market value of Bitcoin because of difficulty. It's gone up to about $10,000. So that's the new floor. So when that statement was made, I'm assuming it was made before the adjustment in difficulty level that happened a week or maybe 2 weeks ago. Now the new bottom is $10,000, which is good, but the bad part of that is that the difficulty of creating a Bitcoin is significantly higher. So right now, this is just to show the scarcity of mining equipment right now, and this is globally, because these are the main providers of mining equipment globally. It's $2,320 for an Antminer S9. Okay, and if you find this exact Antminer on eBay, it's $8,000. So just by buying and holding equipment, you can make 400% on buying from the manufacturer and selling on eBay. So because they're all, I mean, they're nearly impossible to find. So you know, people are selling them for $8,000 plus shipping. So the way that this correlates to the price of Bitcoin, to go back to your question, is the difficulty level is not, it used to be that the difficulty level fluctuated based on the sentiment of Bitcoin, but now the sentiment is far exceeds our ability to keep up with it with the hardware. So as fast as these companies can make mining equipment, it's going to increase the difficulty level, which means, since we know the difficulty level is tied to the value, that the value is going to continue to rise from here forward. The reason why the value went down from 20,000 is because the difficulty level wasn't there to sustain the supply and the demand. It was overinflated because of mainstream adoption. So now that we've overcome the initial surge of mainstream adoption, it's restabilizing around the difficulty level, fair market value. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just curious on that, if it was just people that were full of it or what. So that makes more sense.
No, and I think so too. My data is not as analytical as Randall's is or anything, but just looking at what's happened with the like the price corrections that I've experienced since I've been involved in the crypto space since July, I've seen 2 major corrections. And what happened both times is, you know, it took a dive and it hovered at a bottom for a little while, and then, you know, it would freaking surge again, and the new plateau was always way higher than the high it had been at before, like almost double. And if you look at just the history of the price of Bitcoin on a chart, you know, I think I posted one in the Telegram room of when there was a big dip in like September. It had been up at 4,000 or 5,000. It went down to 2, and then it shot up to 6, 7, 8, like that. And I've experienced that a couple times in 6 months. So I believe it just from experiential knowledge. But what Randall is saying about the mining equipment, I mean, that makes total sense, because everybody is trying to mine the shit out of Bitcoin while they can and while it's profitable. And I'm sure the stock is Bitmain publicly traded? It is, isn't it?
They're based out of China, so I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. So probably not then. But I wonder, I think I saw something online about Samsung or some other companies were starting to manufacture miners too. So to me, that's another indication that if all of these other electronics companies are trying to now manufacture crypto miners, you know, they're going to chase the money. That was a great question.
Thanks.
Good job, Skylar. Anybody else?
It was a good question.
It was an awesome question. Nobody? Bueller. Okay. Well, if nobody has any other questions, we can wrap it up, and we'll post the top exchanges, links for Sun Mining and Hashflare if you want to look at it. It looks like Sun Mining is a little bit more profitable than Hashflare right now, and depending on how much you're thinking about throwing in it, really you may just want to hold on to it for an ICO if you're talking about a couple $100, because you're probably gonna you may have a better option there. It looks, in Sun Mining, it looks like, 5 times the investment in a year, but with an ICO you can make 3 to 5 times the investment in a few months. So it just kind of depends. But as our portfolios grow, what I've done is I've put a little bit more in all these different areas, so I'm pretty well protected. It makes me feel safer. So Randall, do you have anything else you want to add before we say goodnight?
Sweet dreams.
Okay. Right on. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Right. That part too. Okay, good. We'll see everybody next week on the call, and just hit us up if you have any questions or anything. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good night.